Steve Ptacek, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, you have a big job ahead of you here, and I know we've all been hearing a lot about it. But this is your second year with District 117. You've done an amazing job, and I can say that because I have kids in the school district, and I get all your memos and everything. You're a great communicator. But we got this 1 cent sales tax coming up, and I know that you've been doing a lot of investigating and a lot of research. So tell me a little bit about the need of District 117.
Well, what generated this plan and this process is I met a couple summers ago with our buildings and grounds crew and our architect, and they showed us we had $60 million in building needs that we were going to have to face over the next 30 years. Our most recent facility was built in 1982, and the vast majority of our facilities are over 50 years old. From that, I realized we had to develop a long-term plan to address those needs because the state of the buildings, there's data to show, does have an impact on student learning.
Wow, if there's a lot of these issues that need to be addressed here. So, after you met with the grounds crew and you discovered the needs, the next process is?
Well, we launched into an extensive community engagement process. And the reason we wanted to have that is because we knew we're not going to be able to do anything moving forward without the community involved. We want to develop a long-term plan that fits our educational needs, but also fits within what the community expectations for the school system, what those expectations are. One of the things in this process that we wanted to work with the community for them to get to understand is how has it gotten this bad? And I think that's one thing that's different this time versus other opportunities the district has had in the past, is explaining to the community the limitations the district has had in taking care of its facilities over the last 18 years. If we were in other districts, we would be able to take our health, life, safety needs, and we'd be able to have our architects state them as health, life, safety needs, and we'd be able to go out and sell health, life, safety bonds and take those bonds, pay for our buildings and facility needs, and put that bond payment on top of the taxpayers. But when tax caps were passed in Morgan County, or in all counties whenever they were passed, the districts are limited in their ability to sell health, life, safety bonds. These are non-referendum bonds, and put that payment on the taxpayers. They're limited when the tax caps are passed to the dollar amount the district had in outstanding bonds on the day the tax caps were passed. In November 1996, when this district passed tax caps, Jacksonville School District had zero outstanding bond debt. Therefore, for the last 18 years, this district has been operating, and I think very well with a limitation, without the ability to generate extra funds to take care of its facilities.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't understand that. So I think it's been a big part of my educational push is to have people understand why and how the buildings are in the condition they're in.
Got to be in this bad a shape. Okay, so you've done an investigation, you've done some research on the buildings, and you've been doing a little investigation as to how to pay for it, and you came up with?
Well, the community engagement process, which included 4 large community engagement events. They were 250 people. Wow. Jacksonville School District, and not just school district, but community residents attended on average, and we also did professional political phone polling to get the input from 300 registered voters who had previously voted. And after compiling all that data and information, the final plan came up with that the community would not support a property tax issue at this point in time, but the community could potentially support a sales tax issue, and the limitation in the payments on a 20-year bond would be for $24 million of investment in a building. And with those limitations, the best option the community came up with was for a complete renovation of the current Turner Junior High School and to expand to allow the 6th graders to attend Turner, which would therefore give them the opportunity to get into fine arts, band, athletic programs, interventions, talented and gifted opportunities, and guidance opportunities they currently do not have, being in 6 separate buildings.
Okay. So they came up with the 1%, and it sounds like, there's been a tremendous amount of input and research. And so now to get this passed, and you have a very well orchestrated plan in place.
Well, I'm not actually part of the plan to get it passed. I'm My job is for information, the current status of our buildings, our economic limitations, and then I can give out facts about the sales tax.
So once we get, or if the sales tax does pass November 4th, then the school district has, obviously borrowing power or whatever against this. And so what's the first move then? The Turner renovation?
If that were to happen on November 4th, we would immediately launch into our the process of getting community members involved to actually define what we would like the new Turner renovation to include. Do we want it to have a new band room? Do we wish to for it to have? Do we want to have a stage or an auditorium? Or for the money, what does the community want the building to have inside? And after that process, then we will have the parameters from which we can go out and seek bids.
Okay.
And then once we get those bids, we go through a process of evaluating all the bids, so that then we can start on the project.
Now, I have to ask you, Steve, because I know that you've been here for a few years, and a few years ago that this issue did come up once before. What seems to be the difference between trying to get it passed now and 2 years ago?
And I wasn't here to completely judge what happened last time, but the input I'm getting is that a lot of people feel that there was a much stronger community involvement with the design and planning of this plan. Also, looking at the last plan, they started talking about how it would affect which schools to close, and I think other people saw that if it passed, that the plan would drastically alter how their kids went to school. In other words, on the list were that North and Franklin would close. On the list was that the district would calculate new boundaries for all the other elementary schools. The unknown, I think, frightened a lot of people away. But now, currently, as part of this plan, if the sixth graders leave the elementary schools, the kindergarten students who are currently in the central office will be able to go back to their home schools. And the pre-K center will be able to come into the central office. We don't have any room to do anything else with closing any other elementary buildings in that scenario.
Wow.
So I can honestly commit to that this plan itself does not end result in the closure of a building. This plan, once we get people together to start talking about a phase 2 when that happens, the community input will decide what happens next.
Wow.
This is an equitable plan that serves all of the students throughout the entire district, does address a building with intense need, and I am asking people to please come Thursdays at 5:30 to Turner. I'm giving tours at Turner to show people the true extent of need in that building.
Wow. So that's this Thursday and every Thursday
through October.
Through October.
So yes, okay. Tonight at 5:30 I will be at Turner.
Well, I got to ask this question, Steve, and we've talked a little bit about this, but one of the things that I've always admired about you is that you're a long-range person. So let's say that the 1% gets passed, and let's say that it goes into effect, and your plan is executed as said. What's the long-range plan? What does this mean for Jacksonville?
I've got a vision that you look throughout the state and you see communities that are outside of larger municipal areas that are thriving. Just read today, actually, on one of your Facebook posts, somebody summed it up very well and said that communities such as Chatham or Dunlap up in Peoria 25, 30 years ago were much smaller communities.
Correct.
And they used a highly effective school system that does include facilities and curriculum to attract people to move to their communities. We are close enough to Springfield that in the long-range vision, as the interstate system connects to our local interstates, making it out west much more viable to go to St. Louis.
Sure.
I foresee growth somewhere on the west side of Springfield as the new place for people to move. If we have the buildings in place and the curriculum in place, which I originally wasn't a curriculum person. I was an AP, advanced placement, college credit level physics teacher, and I want to bring those programs to the high school.
Wow.
When we bring those programs and we have the buildings in place, I see Jacksonville being the place that people want to move to.
Wow.
And that will be our saving opportunity 25, 30 years from now.
Wow.
That's the vision I see for Jacksonville moving forward.
So, and then hence a huge increase in population, in storefronts.
If we get people with money to choose to move to Jacksonville, they're investing in our community. Businesses will grow. Businesses will thrive. Jobs will be more open. Our low-income percentage will decrease because there will be more jobs available. That's how communities win nowadays. You attract people with money to move to your community and invest in your community. And we're in a position to be able to do that.
Well, Steve, I have to thank you again for enlightening us on a lot of these issues. And 1% sales tax increase is going to be going on the. Well, it's not an increase. It's a 1% sales tax is going to be on the ballot November 4th, and a lot of people are backing this, and it's a benefit for our schools.
And please, if you have any questions about it, at vision117.com. I've got a page dedicated to sales tax facts and includes what will be taxed and what won't be taxed, what the taxes can be used for and what they can't be used for. So if you have any questions, please visit that page. And I welcome questions directly to me. Call me at the central office if you have questions about the sales tax.
Well, we appreciate your being in here, Steve. And again, tonight,
5:30 at Turner.
5:30 at Turner, and every Thursday night throughout the month of October.
Yep, hope to see you there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Steve Ptacek, Superintendent of District 117.